What's up, guys? It's Rocky from the Couch Thoughts Podcast here again, coming back at you with another Friday segment. I think I'm going to call this Show and Tell. So I'm just going to take something out of my nerd cave here and say some stuff about it. So here we go. So what I'm going to be talking about today is my experience with Star Wars and all the different versions of Star Wars that I've owned over the years. So first story, first time I ever saw Star Wars, I believe it was on TNT. Back in the early 90s, they used to show Star Wars. The first one I saw was Return of the Jedi. So the biggest scene that I remember, being 3 or 4 years old, the biggest scene that I would remember is the speeder bike chase through the forest of Endor with Luke and Leia, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then I also had the toy of the speeder bike trooper, which I always thought that was my favorite toy growing up too. So that was just the best thing. Then I begged and begged my mom, so I caught Star Wars every time it came on, and just watched them that way with a ton of commercials on TNT, or maybe it was TNN back in the day. I'm not even sure, but I'll just catch it that way. And I begged and begged my mom to get VHS copies of Star Wars. So she went out, being the great mom she is. By this time, it's 1997. So the special editions have come out. So she goes out and brings home the special editions in the VHS box set. I don't have that one here with me, but I'll try to find a picture of the one I have and put it up somewhere. But came home, popped those in the VCR, and I started wondering, what, that scene wasn't in the original. I watched A New Hope, and Jabba is in there, and it's the 1997 terrible looking Jabba. Not that the new Blu-ray version is any better, but I thought, what? That scene's not in there. And then, in Return of the Jedi, you got Jabba's palace, and the song is all different. I thought that song was just ridiculous. So I didn't know what was going on, though. I just thought, oh, well, that must have been the movies, and TNT is just showing them wrong, or TNN is just showing them wrong. So I watched those for years and years, and I had, just a great time watching those, and didn't really know the special editions from anything. So then we get to 1999, and the prequels are coming out. So, I'm all hyped for episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and that's when I really became a diehard Star Wars fan, was with the prequels. There's 3 phases of Star Wars fans, right? There's the original, the people that were around for the original trilogy, and then there's the the people that kind of came into it through the prequels. That's my generation. And then there's the whole new batch coming in with the sequel trilogy. So I think that's really awesome. There's going to be kids that grow up and The Last Jedi is their favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and I just think that's really cool, because even though I came in on the prequel trilogy, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, those kind of waffle back and forth. Return of the Jedi being the first one I ever saw is really special place in my heart. So the prequels come out, and I get all these versions. So The Phantom Menace comes out in 99, and I get the VHS copy of The Phantom Menace. So I know this is a rare commodity these days, and I still have a VCR that'll play this. You got the movie poster on the front. You see Jar Jar on the back there, and also the pod race, and then the battle, the lightsaber battle at the end, which is really awesome. So, like I said before, I loved this movie when it came out. I loved it because I was 11 or 12 years old at the time, and that just it really hooked me. So then, 3 years later, we get Attack of the Clones. So this is where I transitioned to the DVD technology. Had a DVD player now. Now, probably the first DVD player I got was probably the PS2. So got that one, and then of course 3 years later, we get the overall favorite of most people from the prequel trilogy in Revenge of the Sith. Again, got the DVD copy. So I have the VHS of the original trilogy. I have one VHS of the prequel trilogy, and then I have the other 2 on DVD. I kept my VCR for a long time, and I actually have it right off camera here. So then the next thing I bought was years later. I watched VHS versions and the 2 DVDs I had for years and years. So then years later, the new, and this is just a few years old now, the Blu-ray copies of all 6 original films by George Lucas. And so this one comes out, and then there's even more. It's different from the special editions that I had seen, and so I still didn't really know what was going on with that. I didn't really grasp what was really going on with that. But there's even more things. I think the rock in front of R2 was in this one, right? There's more stuff changed, so I don't really know what's going on until the internet comes around, later, and I say, oh, well, okay, there's the original version of the films, and then there's the, special editions in 97, and then there's the new special editions. A few years later, actually just about a year ago, I'm in Goodwill. I like to shop around at Goodwill a lot, and I find the 1995 releases of the original trilogy. So I can now, since I still have my VCR, I can still watch them in all their original glory, and on all the original versions. These are kind of spotty now. These have the Maltin interviews with George Lucas, and those I don't skip those. A lot of people skip those when they go through these movies, but I don't skip the Leonard Maltin interviews. I think they're really cool because George Lucas doesn't talk about that stuff very much, and it's kind of cool. He's kind of jaded about the original trilogy, so it's cool that Maltin got him to talk about that. That's kind of my whole collection, and I just wanted to talk about the collection that I have, and also, these originals right here are probably my favorite thing in my Star Wars collection. I have some books back here and stuff too, but these original versions are, kind of my most prized. I watch them all the time. I have a VCR here. I'm scared to death that they're going to break and I won't be able to watch the original versions anymore. I'll have to go on eBay or something. I just happened to find these at Goodwill one day. So the special editions, there are a couple of good changes there. But by and large, all Star Wars fans kind of wish they would bring the originals out. Obviously, that's a huge thing in the Star Wars community. I'm hoping that Disney one day, there's probably some kind of clause in the acquisition of Lucasfilm by Disney to not release the original films, which I think is just a terrible shame. But maybe one day it can still happen. There's news releases every year of, they're bringing the original versions out. I don't see it happening. And that's really a shame. But in the meantime, I still have these old VHS copies that I can still watch on my VCR until they wear out. And when these wear out, they're gone. Disney, please, they're never going to watch this video, but Disney, please bring these out. So guys, that's kind of my Star Wars video collection. I just wanted to, I think I'm gonna make this a Friday segment and just call it show and tell, like I said. And I'm just gonna get something off the shelf, look at it here. It's not always going to be Star Wars. These first 2 weeks, Star Wars is a huge thing for me. So, but guys, thanks for watching this. Tune in next time. I'll be back next Friday with another show and tell. So until next podcast, later.